Hello guys, what's going on? Kyle with the Car Guys. I'm joined by Owen.
Yo.
You actually go to our locals at prime time, and you've seen a couple different duels with him, right? You've had like two, I want to say, on the channel.
I have a tendency to beat Lloyd.
Yeah, right. Except in top 8 of this turn. Okay, so you're actually playing something completely, I guess you could say, out of the norm. Like, of course, it's Mass Saiyan, as everybody sees in the title, but it's playing yellow. And why did you end up playing yellow over like red or like what Tyler's doing with green?
So the reason why I want to play yellow is, first and foremost, I'm a college student, so I don't have a lot of money. But then the more I thought about it, is that Planet Vegeta is a really good card. And then I looked into it, it turns out that Mass Saiyan is in fact a Saiyan. And so are all the good Trunkses. And just all the best cards in black besides the super combo. They're all Saiyans. So what you can do is that you can run it more like a toolbox. Like you can trim down on some of your ratios. I only run 3 Killer Sword when some decks will run 4 and all that stuff. It's just, it adds a lot of consistency to the deck. And also in yellow, you get some good self-awakening tools. Like, I'm currently running the no opening Son Goku just because it's basically another super combo that draws from your life instead of your deck. And that's really relevant in some matchups with Mass Saiyan because you have a tendency to mill yourself out if the game goes on too long.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so do you remember any of your matchups?
I played against Super Saiyan 3 twice in the first 2 rounds, and really, it's back and forth on that matchup. It's just, this version is really fast, and because of just the way I have it built, you play Champa a lot, and you can reuse Champa. So in reality, you really only have to connect like 3 times against that deck instead of 6, because that was just how both matchups went. I played, he dealt 2 damage to himself, and then I said, attack Champa, okay? And then later, just eventually getting 2 more hits each run with the Champa in it, and then they would die.
Yeah.
Like, it's just got a lot of recycling in here. I like it a lot.
Okay, what other rounds?
I played Pan, and Pan is probably this deck's worst matchup because you're really trying to just punch him in the face really hard and really fast. But Pan just...
Did he punch you in the face really hard? Okay.
Okay, I got close against him. But what happens is that you, by your aggression, you give them more cards, and with those cards, they stop you, and you get to a point to where against a more controlling, like a green-red good stuff Pan, you just can't do anything, and they can just block all your things and then eventually just beat you down with critical threats. And against mono red Pan, feels Pan's a really, really good card.
Yeah.
And it's just dealing with that several turns in a row, it's just hard, and they'll just outrace you sometimes.
What other rounds?
I only got to play Mega Frieza once, which is this deck's best matchup in theory. And like I'm mainboarding 4 hard horrors for it. Yeah. It's just in my experience. I lost him mainly because that version I played against was abnormal in the fact that it also ran 4 Champa, and it was apes and veggies, so you had to deal with all the blockers and the marching early.
Very weird, yeah, okay.
And then you also had all the value of the veggies, and so that's 8 critical threats that he can Champa you, and so just like game 1 I smashed him, because this deck just always beats Mega Frieza game 1. Game 2, he brought in a whole bunch of Bloodlusts, and he drew 3 of them before, like, turn 4.
Yeah, you couldn't do anything of that. And then you played that Mass Saiyan guy, I want to say, the second last round or last round.
Yeah, like, I played the Mass Saiyan. I've won the mirror every time, because, like, this version is very good in the mirror, because with the Planet Vegetas, you are a lot more consistent than the other Mass Saiyan decks. And the consistency is what really makes yellow Mass Saiyan shine.
Okay, awesome. Well, let's see your ratios, man.
So, you're playing black. You're playing a black leader, so you're always run 4 of this. It's Supreme kind of time. You should know what it does, but it's a super combo you can do before you awaken, as long as you have 5 more cards in your work.
Yeah.
And then with my Trunks Xenos, since this deck has Killer Sword, my ratios were 3 Unrelenting Assault and 2 Time Patrol, because this deck doesn't have a ton of Overwhelm in it. Like, it's mainly just this, a few Miras, and then, like, the Mass Saiyan at the top. Like, I just found that in times where you don't have any Overwhelms in your hand, this card's the better of the 2, just because they both add a card to your hand. It's just this one adds itself back, and this one draws you a card.
Yeah. So,
the fact that you can use this one over and over and over again, and that if you Killer Sword evolve this one, it goes back to your hand to combo with later.
Yeah.
I feel like that's just a little bit more valuable than the card fixing of this, but this one also comes in handy.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I like this one a little bit more, but I think
the utility of the unrelenting is just yeah.
Yes.
I understand. Okay.
And after that, we have the Mass Saiyans. So I ran 3 and 2, as opposed to Tyler, which he was doing really well, who ran 3 of these and 2 of these ones. I just really valued the Self-Awakening. That was kind of a sub-theme of this deck because against everything except for the mirror and other aggro decks, people like to hold you at 5. They like to hold you against Lloyd. Literally, I was at 8 the whole time and had to like pretend to be Mecha Frieza and just turbo out this and then unrelenting no openings and then just try to
like
deal 4 damage to myself to where I can flip and actually do anything. And it's just another important thing is that this cannot work blockers.
Yeah.
This can. Yeah. So against in the Mecha matchup, this one's actually better because you play this and it gets a monkey.
Yeah.
Although in board, I would probably side more of these and then kind of like switch more towards this so I'm playing more against the veggies version because this is better against veggies. But I expected to see more apes, and I did see more apes than I saw veggies. So I guess my little hunch was correct. And after that, we have Miras. I'm running 2 and 2, and then I have more of this in the sideboard because this is kind of better against control. But this guy's just fat. Like he's 2K, no energy cost to overwhelm, so that's why I like this one a lot. And he has critical. So sometimes you attack with your leader with critical, and you want to chomp it, but they will negate it or something like that. Then you just say this guy and say, "Whoops," and then you smack him for 20. For like, yeah, this is like. This deck is basically Champa Turbo is the best way to explain it. And then just making them discard cards is always good. Then we have Haru Haru. It's wild, it's free against yellow or green leaders. I wanted so badly to play against the androids deck that was here today, just because my score was really back. I was back and forth throughout the tournament, and I knew if I played against androids, it would be a free win just because of this card. Like against any leader that doesn't have Cold Bloodlust that applies to her, playing this card just wins the game automatically. Like you get this off of Killer Sword's free. You can attack and then evolve another Killer Sword over it. And that is another pro of the yellow version is that with the Planet Vegeta, setting up Killer Sword chains against like Mecha or Cell or 17 and 18 is really, really easy. Like you can do that consistently. So with the Trunkses, I have 2 Power Overseeing Time and 3 Killer Sword. I'm down to 3 of these. I originally had 4, and I went down to 3 because I realized this with Planet, if I really need it, I can have it.
Yeah.
And this guy also kind of acts like this one because you will almost definitely mill 1 of these in the course of time. So if you really need him back, you just play this one and get this one back.
Yeah.
But my favorite thing about Power Overseeing Time is just to be able to recycle combos. So the main 3 combos in this deck is that there's Spring Kai of Time, no openings, and Chomper. And since he is on 2, he is like the only 2-drop in the deck.
Yeah.
And so I can combo with him on turn 1 and then turn 2 play this guy to get that one back. But when I'm going second, I normally use that combo on turn 2. And so he lines up very well on both the 2 and 3 spots of the curve because you either play him on 2 to tap out and be efficient, or on turn 3 you can pay him and then add back one of the 1-cost combos from your warp.
Yeah.
And then it's just efficiency and just using your mana correctly every turn is just kind of how you have to play an aggro deck, and that's what this is. And so he performed very, very well today. I think 2 is the right number because you see him just enough, and he's oftentimes what I search with Planet the first time. Because he kind of, with 3 of this and then 5 smaller chunks to evolve him off of, he just kind of comes naturally. But I almost always search this, except for against control type decks like Red Green Pan. I would search Self-Awakeners over this guy. And then we get to the combo-y stuff. Champa. You run it. You get Double Strike.
Yeah.
Double Strike Critical is
It's kind of the focal point of the deck in a way.
Double Strike Critical is a potent interaction. Planet Vegeta.
Of course. Fair enough. Searches 90% of the deck.
Yeah, searches everything but like the biggest Mass Saiyan and Miras and the super combo. And also raise your grade apes. Flying Nimbus, another reason we're in yellow actually, is that Flying Nimbus is arguably, if not definitively, the best negate in the game.
Yeah.
Just because if that's what happened to me a lot is that against Super Saiyan 3, they would test attack with their leader, or just any deck that tests attack with their leader, like Mecha does a lot as well. You just say this, discard a card, and say, have fun with your last attack of the turn. Like, this card is just so good. It really punishes unskilled players.
Yeah.
And it's a great card.
Yeah.
Another pro of being in yellow is that you get Youthful Bulma. Even though it is a strictly worse energy boosted Boo, it's still 1 mana, draw a card, it's combo on the table. Like,
Yeah.
it's just a really solid card to hit, and it helps you hit that critical mass of just yellow cards to help Mass Saiyan always be 5k and critical extra. A really good card today that I actually added in last night before we came here is No Opening Son Goku. And so it was, I'd never thought about this until I heard that the fact that it is only the coming into play part that does not work if your leader is not yellow. So even if you're playing a black leader, you can still take the life, and that is during the combo step and not as it enters the battlefield. So it's like a super combo, but it draws from your life instead, which is relevant because it can help you hit Awakening, which can then draw you 2 more cards and give you 5k more power. And it's also relevant, as I said before, when you're just really low on cards in your deck and you think you're going to mill out.
Yeah. And then the spice is the last card.
Okay, you see, as I said before, I built this deck because it's cheap. But what I'm running 4 of these Nappas. Originally, I actually borrowed and I had Explosive Spirit Son Gokus for this.
Yeah, you did.
I borrowed them from Kyle, and
then you got them from me.
And then I trounced you in the tournament with them, and you were pissed, and then I got them from you, and they spiked, and I sold them for profit, easy.
Yeah.
We see is this guy. He was almost a joke around prime time just because he's Nappa with hair, right? And then I actually took time to read the card, and what it says is that when this card attacks, if your opponent has a card in rest mode, it gains 10k until the end of the turn. So you see, a lot of the times I'll pop this out with Killer Sword Trunks, and they will just like completely ignore it because it's Nappa. And like, what the fuck is that card? I've never seen it before. And then he just surprises you because he's 25.
Try to out everything else, and you're like, oh.
And it's like, oh, there's still 25k vanilla on the field. Like,
and then
you can slam a chop on this guy, and he's 35. Like, people don't pay attention to that. He's especially good against Pan because Pan, like, Fearless Pan is the main card of the deck. He's 15k blocker, so it lines up really well against Mass Saiyan with the lower power cards in the deck. And so sometimes they'll block with that, and they'll either spin a combo to save it, or it was just even with Mass Saiyan. And then when he attacks the leader, they have a tap blocker.
Yeah.
And so it's just 25 out of nowhere. And it's just, he performed really well. I got a couple kills up with him today. Although my favorite was a kill with a 61,000 attack double strike Bulma to end the game in the mirror. That was just amazing. But just, this deck did a lot better than I thought it would. I ended up 7th place, and I think I would have done better in the final round if I didn't play against just the red-green Pan deck, which is probably this deck's absolutely worst matchup because they just hold you still, and they don't ever attack you, and you have to awaken yourself, or you're just gonna run out of cards, and it's awful.
Well,
but
Owen, I'm proud of you, man. I'm proud of you for getting there, getting over the hump, and winning. You're winning in, and you and I had to win, and we did it somehow.
Yeah, we made it top 8. Time to represent.
But congrats again. Hopefully, we'll see you. Once you do well at another event, because you're going to travel more. I know you are, so don't say it now.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, it's been Kyle with the Car, guys. We'll see you guys later.